We are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live, a call-in show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Today is Sunday, May the 7th, the 23rd year of this millennia. I think it's the third millennia, 2023, something like that. We got a lot to talk about here, folks. We got a lot of good news, a lot of things transpiring through the transfer portal this week. I know some of you guys are a little fired up. I want to hear your comments about all the latest news, the latest additions. We will get to that in a minute. I want to welcome in my cohorts here, Mr. Jhead, Mr. Cole Pinkston. How about you, fellas?
How about you?
How about you? All right. Before we get started, folks, we're going to jump right into it too, man. But yeah, who was it, Zach? Somebody was wanting to know where they can buy a car. You don't have to listen Thursday where you can buy a house, but buying a car, I got the man for you. His name is Caleb Schofield. He's an Auburn man down there at Mike Patton Auto in LaGrange, Georgia. He's off of Lafayette Parkway. I'm going to tell you right now, he sells some dadgum cars. He's got new Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Honda. Fantastic used car lot. And they don't even put them on the lot until these cars pass a multi-point inspection, so you know you're going to get a good one. Back all those used cars with a free 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty. Those new vehicles, they come with free lifetime powertrain, son. Free lifetime powertrain warranty. Unlimited time, unlimited mileage. If you're not in the market for a new car, you need to get some of your rent paid. Send them to Caleb, dude. He'll send you $300. I've seen it. It works. Make it happen. Caleb Schofield, Mike Patton Auto, LaGrange, Georgia, 334-531-0996. Give him a call. Tell him we sent you. Whoop! That was the alarm, folks. Auburn has a transfer quarterback. Has a couple of more, too. A couple more players out of the transfer portal. But Auburn on Friday picked up a commitment and subsequently a signing of Mr. Payton Thorne from Michigan State, a graduate transfer with 2 years of eligibility left. Jhead, we're going to go to you. Thoughts, big dog?
Well played, Jeffrey. Well played on that.
You had something good to say though.
I did. So I can't put a number on how big this is for Auburn. I mean, it is absolutely massive to be able to go in, pick up a transfer portal quarterback, not just a transfer portal quarterback, but a one with the productivity that Payton Thorne has had to this point, the experience, the leadership. I think he just meets the criteria for everything that Philip Montgomery and Hugh Freeze were looking for in a quarterback. Somebody they could bring in that could be a bridge. He could be a great mentor in that room. And obviously somebody that could elevate that room and at a minimum elevate the floor. At a maximum, guess what, guys? He pushes that ceiling. So every quality piece you add from this point moving forward, you're potentially adding a W to the win column. Payton Thorne is a big part of that equation. Just having a veteran. And look, if Robbie Ashford wins this quarterback competition, because I think that Hugh Freeze is going to have an open competition pushing into the fall, you have to feel that much better about Robbie Ashford, right? But as of today, I would expect Payton Thorne to be the number one starting quarterback moving into next year. I think he's going to win that competition, and I think he's going to have us on solid footing with a competent passing game moving into this next year.
Oh, well said, man. Cole, you watched both of these kids. You've done film reviews on both of these kids. You know the pros and cons. When I say both, it was Casey Thompson or Payton Thorne. I think we talked about that either on the recruiting show Thursday or maybe last week's show. But we had it 80 or 90%. We thought Auburn was getting Payton Thorne. Brooks, I'm on the show, big dog. Cole, what's Auburn getting in Payton Thorne?
Well, I think they're getting a guy who, well, first of all, experience, right? I mean, he's close to 6,000 yards passing. That's a lot of throws he's made. That's a lot of completions he's made, and his completion percentage is actually pretty good. People put a lot of stock into that, and I think there's a reason for it.
Usually 60% or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a little above 60% both years.
Yeah.
So people put a lot of stock into that, and I kind of buy into that a little bit because usually that's synonymous with a good quarterback play. And I did a whole grading session on Payton Thorne when they played Washington, which was a loss for them, but a close game and one that Thorne kind of showed out a little bit, and he graded pretty high in my opinion. So I think he's sort of a scrapper, honestly, which is something you don't hear said about him too much. I think people watch him and go, I'm not really sure what box to put him in as a quarterback
Hmm.
because he can run a little bit.
Yep.
You know, he doesn't have the laser arm, but he's accurate. So I just think he's a little bit of a scrapper, and which is, to me, fits right in with Auburn. I think that's fine.
Absolutely. That's kind of what you want, man. For me, I'm looking at this bigger picture. I know Casey Thorne. That's a combination of
I do that a lot. I call him Casey all the time.
Payton Thorne. Yes, he's bringing Auburn 6,000 yards passing over the last 2 years. He's giving Auburn, I don't know, 30-something, 40-something touchdowns or whatever it was. But, man, for me, the big picture for Auburn fans, this kid is giving Auburn the most important thing, and that's hope.
Yes.
I mean, that's immediate hope on this. Yeah. I mean, the outlook on the 2023 season just changed. And as Jhead said, Robbie Ashford might be your starting quarterback. Holden Geriner might be your starting quarterback. But if they are, you at least know they beat out a talented, experienced quarterback. There is going to be a damn good quarterback for Auburn run out of that tunnel in September for the first game.
Let me give you just a few stats. 3,240 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 61% completion percentage. That's what Payton Thorne did 2 years ago. If we get that kind of production out of the quarterback room this year, what do you think that says about our record?
That was a New Year's Six bowl game against he beat somebody.
Pittsburgh?
Beat Pitt, sure did.
Yep.
And they finished 11. Michigan State finished 11-2 that year. Now they did the Auburn Gene Chizik 180 the following year.
Correct.
But they went 11-2 his sophomore year, or no, I'm sorry, his freshman year. Really, it was his first eligibility. This kid's got 2 years of experience, so I love that he is. There's no excuses, right?
Right. You've got everything that you need. And if I am going to make one excuse for Payton Thorne, he was a little dinged up last year, and I'm not trying to be the guy that's saying, "Oh, that was the root cause of everything," as far as why you may have seen a backslide to a degree from him from production standpoint. There are all kinds of variables that can go into that. But I do think a quarterback's health, and he didn't have Kenneth Walker in the backfield, right? Kenneth Walker was a huge piece of that offense for Michigan State the year before. Well, guess what? We've got a Jarquez Hunter in our backfield, a bell cow that you can count on. You've got a Damari Austin. You got a change of pace back. You guys help me with the enunciation on that coming from South Florida.
I say Batee.
Yeah, I think Batee is right, but I've heard Batty, I've heard Battier, I've heard Batee.
Batty is what you meet at the club late at night. They didn't call them baddies back in my day, big dog.
No, you called them night crawlers, and you didn't have light switch by the time you got in.
I think it's important to note that Auburn picked up the quarterback commitment on Friday. Less than a day later, here comes freaking Ohio State transfer wide receiver Caleb Burton. He commits. You've got Jair Shorter. We're going to get to the phones right now. Jair Shorter, who left visit today. Cole talked to him. Got to think Auburn's a team to beat if they decide to take him. Mm-hmm. Montana Lamonius Craig, definitely, I think, is Auburn a team. I've got a prediction in on him. And I mean, it's not like I'm going out of, it's not like a big hot take or anything. But this wide receiver transfer class could end up being pretty special. Hey, Zach, let's get us to the phone, big dog. I apologize to anybody holding. I know we had some guys just burning to get some of these thoughts out of their heads, maybe a question or two. Let's take it to them, Zach, in the back. Oh, 5 callers. Great day in the morning. I ain't shut my mouth.
6848. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
It's Bryce from Beulah, guys. What's up?
Oh, baby.
Bryce.
Yeah, been a few weeks, boys. I had to check in. Now we got some news over here.
Yeah.
So my question is, I got 2 quick ones. I'll get off the horn, let everybody else get on. So, Jhead, you're the numbers guy as far as roster goes.
Sure.
So looking at a couple of these guys that's jumped in the portal, let's just go like Powell Gordon and Desmond Tisdale. As of right now, these guys haven't found a home, right?
Correct.
So are we still kind of on the hook for that scholarship towards our number until they find a new home? Or once they get in the portal, they're pretty much like, you got to find your own home. Like, I didn't know if there was something like until they actually sign with somebody, like we are academically tied to those guys because we did offer them a scholarship. Is that, do I got that right or am I completely wrong?
So
By the way, Des Tisdale is Florida Atlantic. He committed
Yes.
Florida Atlantic.
Oh, is that Rock Bellantoni?
Yeah.
He sure was.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
Rock
right.
picked that one up. No, because they're first-time transfers. If it were a second-time transfer of an undergraduate variety, yes, we would be on the hook for them until they were able to find a transfer destination. But the second an initial transfer candidate enters the portal, you are no longer obligated to that person. In fact, you no longer even have to honor that scholarship. I believe Hugh Freeze is honoring scholarships until guys find a place, or at least probably through May. I doubt they're going to honor that into June and let kids continue to go to school at that point. But once they reach the conclusion of the semester, they're still picking up the tab on that as far as that's concerned, Bryce. So we will get out from underneath those scholarships completely. And that's kind of what you saw is I think some guys just looking for a new place, realizing after those spring conversations where they kind of fall on the depth chart and realizing they need to go somewhere else to put something on tape.
I got you. All right, cool. Yeah, because I was looking at, I know Powell Gordon, it was still out there, and there was talk, like, you can just see what he's got, may come back or whatever. But, looking at like a guy like Imba, man, it looks like someone gave that kid some bad advice to, because I don't think he had but 2 or 3 suitors. And, I mean, Purdue was the best out of that one when you were pretty much guaranteed you were in the rotation here. So, second question, I'll get off the horn. I didn't get a chance to read Cole's story today on Shorter. But I saw that one clip that was in the story in there. And, man, that guy's built like A.J. Brown or something where it's like he's 220, kind of stocky and all that, kind of would fit that Hugh Freeze kind of mold. So with Burton already in the board as kind of the slot guy, and I know you guys got an RPM in for Lamonius Craig, would we take Craig, Shorter, and even if Coleman or another one of these guys won't in, like, do y'all know if there's like a hard cap? Because, I mean, that's probably the worst room that we have. Like, how many would these guys take? Thanks, guys.
Hey, appreciate you, Bryce. I think 2 to 3. I think 3 is I think 2 at minimum, 3 at most. And those 3, I feel like Auburn will get at least one of the remaining 2, if not 2. I mean, if all things being equal with Shorter, he's coming to Auburn.
Yeah, if everything checks out, grades, health, all that stuff that goes into the evaluation of an official visit, like if all that checks out, I'm with you, Jeffrey. I think 100% he's coming to Auburn. Because in Cole's story, and Cole, you could hear this jump off the page. I think Mississippi State and Colorado were the other 2 schools that he mentioned that were heavily recruiting him right now, and it made it seem like it was a legitimate afterthought after he said Auburn, and then it was just like, all right, and these other 2 schools. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should have talked to him, man. He was fired up. I actually took out one of the I love it mans out of there because I was like, oh, let's not be too redundant here. But he did say it a lot. I mean, he was having a great time.
Good stuff, Bryce. We appreciate your call, big dog. Keep us rolling there, Zach.
8861. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama.
All right, Kevin from Wilmer. Thanks for calling in, Kevin. What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
That wide receiver from somewhere.
North Texas, maybe? Ohio State or Colorado?
Caleb Burton.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah, he committed on Saturday. And this kid's got 4 years of eligibility. You're recruiting the potential on him, right, fellas?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was one of the top recruits in the country 2 years ago, signed with Ohio State. I think he had injury his true freshman year, didn't really play or didn't contribute. And so you're looking at a kid right now with a huge ceiling and 4 years. He's a true freshman, basically.
Yeah.
He's a true freshman without a redshirt year. You got 4 to play for.
How about the quarterback?
The quarterback commitment, Payton Thorne, who committed the day before him. He's got 2 years. He's a grad transfer. He has 2 years of eligibility, Kevin. So, theoretically,
he's really good.
Very good, Kevin.
Yeah, he can play, man. He can play.
It was a big
I
get.
hope we get Cam Coleman from Phoenix City.
Man, I tell you what, when you've got a passing attack that Hugh Freeze is putting together over the past 72 hours, right?
Yeah.
When you've got a passing attack that he's put together just with Payton Thorne, with Caleb Burton, you think about Montana, Lamonius Craig, all the Camden Brown. I mean, now you're thinking, this passing game this fall, what's it going to look like to Ryan Williams? What's it going to look like to Cam Coleman? What's it going to look like to Perry Thompson? What's it going to look like to these high school wide receivers who are committed elsewhere, but, man, they have a little bit of draw to Auburn. So I think what Hugh Freeze has done not only has given Auburn fans hope for this football season, but also a pretty good leg up in the passing game when it comes to skill position player recruiting. Kevin, I think you're going to like it, big dog.
Yeah, I love the coach too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are happy about Coach Hugh Freeze right now.
How about the other wide receivers?
The other wide receivers being you mean the transfer? Well, the transfer wide receivers are Colorado's Montana Lamonius Craig, and then North Texas Jair Shorter. Both of those guys, I feel like Auburn's a team to beat for both. If Auburn wants both, they'll take both. And then, of course, the guys coming back from this team, Nick Mardner, of course, signed with Auburn. He's transferring in from
Cincinnati
by way of Hawaii.
That's what I said. My mic didn't pick it up.
There you go.
Think about Camden Brown, Jarvarius Johnson, Jay Fair. Wasn't that Edward from Selma, one of his boys, Jay Fair?
Yeah. He
Jay
called
Fair.
that one, man. I've heard good things about old Jay.
So a lot to be excited about, Kevin. A lot to be excited about with the special, with the skill position players.
How about defense?
Auburn's got a huge commitment. Listen, I had a huge, whichever part of the country you're from, huge commitment from Jalen McLeod, who is a jack, a pass rusher from
App State.
I get him and Oakwood mixed up all the time. But I will say, somebody told me, and this was a college administrator in athletics, not at Auburn. He said he was Jalen McLeod, one of the top 5 overall players in the transfer portal. He's that good. And Auburn got him. I think that was a big addition. Auburn's going to look for a defensive back, another edge, Isaac Ukwu from James Madison, another guy to keep an eye on. And then we'll see what happens moving forward with Auburn and the defensive staff. But good stuff, Kevin, man. We appreciate your call, big dog. Want to hear back from you maybe next week or the week after.
Then we'll see what happens.
4128. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Logan.
Logan Adams?
It's Logan Adams. Yes, sir.
Oh, my God, man. I know that guy.
I would ask how you fellas are doing this evening, but last week when I asked, Jay Lee wasn't too accepting. So I'm going to assume you guys are doing well.
Yeah.
It's none of your business, to be honest with you.
Hey, you know what? I'll stay in my lane. And it's all right. So, I have quite a few points, but I'll try to keep it quick. First things first, I want to say congratulations to you guys. Someone posted it, I think it was Shannon, on Twitter about you guys are in the top 3 and overall network traffic. That's awesome.
Thank you, man.
I know on the board you guys are quick to thank us, but I mean we do keep coming back for you guys. So hats off to you guys. I just want to start it off with that.
Appreciate you, Logan.
Thanks,
that's
man.
big time, man. We appreciate everybody that make that possible, man.
Yep, that's
We
all
got
you guys, man.
We
All
got
you
some
guys.
awesome subscribers for sure.
Hey, y'all say that, but no, we keep coming back for you guys. But I did want to start off by saying, weeks back I called in and I said at the point in time where we were then, I think it was right after Alabama's spring game, that if we played them tomorrow, we'd kick their ass. If we play Alabama tomorrow, given the team that we have now, we'll still kick their ass. I know that that's not a overall accepted, standpoint. But I see that. But we're not going to make that a discussion point. But one thing that I wanted to touch on was, so I've been following Auburn football closely for like 20, 25 years. And there's been a handful of years where, you go into the season, you're very, very excited. Mm-hmm. Back in 2014, we had the expectations of competing for a national championship. Obviously, that didn't pan out. This year, I don't think I've ever been this excited as I am going into this year, knowing that our expectations are not even close to what they were in 2014. They're not. So what Hugh Freeze is doing here, I mean, it's special, man. I don't know. I don't really know how to process it. We're getting the guys that we should be getting, and in years past, we just didn't fill the void that was needed year after year. And I know it's just, Hugh hasn't even coached the game, but just from going from the end of the Harsin era, the very short-lived Harsin era, to where Hugh is now, it's just, this momentum before even coaching the game, it's crazy, dude. So I don't think we're going to be too far out before we're going to be, year in, year out, talking about how we're going to be competing for an SEC title and then beyond into the playoffs, especially when we're going into 12 teams. I'm not sure if that's going to be when does that take place? Is that 2024 or 2025?
$12 teams. Oklahoma and Texas are coming in next year, right? 2024.
Yes, Oklahoma and Texas come in 2024. Playoff is fully adopted in 2025. I think that's probably, or is the playoff 2024 now? Did they move it up a year?
Yeah, I think it is.
It's 2024. This is the final year of the 14.
I think it's 24. I just wasn't sure, but
no, you're right. It's 24.
I have Homer eyes on, but I think by next year, with the way that we are constructing this year's roster, we should be able to squeeze our way in there to a 12-team playoff. Maybe next year's schedule is not favorable. We play Georgia, Alabama away, right? But 2025 and so on and so forth. Yeah, we should be in that discussion every year based on where Hugh Freeze's momentum is now, where our expectations should be. But another point, and I also want Zach's input on this as well, because the guy knows his shit. He just does. But let's say we get in Montana Lamonius Craig, and then we also get this Jair Shorter guy. Mm-hmm. What is the wide receiver depth chart going to look like? Who's going to start? And before you answer, I did look up Jair's stats, and I think it was 23 receptions for 650 yards. But if you watch, you would immediately jump and think that he's a deep threat. He is a deep threat, but when you watch his tape, not all these passes are, just fades. The guy is just able to work his way through the defense and get the extra yardage.
If you go look at his stats,
I'm just curious as to how this depth chart, let's say that the roster had to be set, depth chart had to be set tomorrow, and we had those two transfers who have yet to commit, and we hope that we do. How would that depth chart look? Who are going to be the starting receivers?
I can do that whenever you guys go ahead.
I just want to throw in one thing. 23 catches, 11 of those were touchdowns, Logan. And if you go back, if you look at his long reception, he didn't have long receptions. I think his long last year was 58 yards, and most of them were like 20-something yard touchdowns. So I thought that was interesting, and you brought up that point. One other thing I thought was interesting is that Auburn is looking at that Montana Lamonius Craig potentially in the slot, which they've got Caleb Burton there. They've got, correct me if I'm wrong, Tavares Johnson, Jay Fair. It seems like that's the most stacked position. Yeah. But Montana is what, 6'2"? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6'1.5", 6'2".
So maybe they're playing that, hey, man, whichever one you can get into. Like I can't imagine them needing. I don't know the offense either, but does he use two slots a lot?
Times, yes.
Okay, there you go.
He likes the bubble screen.
There you go.
Which is your slot working out to, with the blocker in front. And Lamonius Craig at Colorado was used a lot as the screen guy, where they throw it to him and he go break a tackle like a running back. That's kind of his style. He's physical, dude. He's physical. I love Lamonius Craig.
And they'll put him in stack sets as well. where the slot defender or the slot wide receiver is going to move directly behind whoever the line of scrimmage wide receiver is going to be, your X and your Z. And they'll kind of catapult them to a degree so that they get a free release and then they can run wide open down the seam. When you think of a big body like MLC running down the seam, maybe Rivaldo Fairweather's that other guy. That's going to be a lot for a safety or a linebacker to have to deal with.
You put Fairweather wherever you want. I mean, you can put him at H-back. You can put him at ZX. You can put him in the slot, whatever. Just put him out there.
But I think they'll roll a multitude of guys out there. I think MLC will probably start on the outside. But, yeah, I think he'll get some – they rotate receivers and put them in different spots. So I think you'll absolutely see him in the slot as well. I don't think he's going to be pigeonholed into one certain position.
Yeah.
Okay. So Logan wants to know if Auburn goes 4 wide first play of the game, first play of the season, 4 wide. Who are you for? Camden.
All right. Well, I'm going to put.
We're not counting Lamonius Craig yet, right? Because he's
no. He said count Lamonius Craig and Shorter.
Oh, count him. Okay. All right.
Count him. I got Camden Brown and Shorter bracketed at one position. Okay. Whoever plays the best in fall practice, that's your starter right there. In the slot, I'm going to go with Fairweather as your Y tight end.
Okay.
Your other slot, I'm going to have JJ, and then I'm going to have MLC starting at the Z on the outside. I think that's a very diverse group.
Oh, it is.
And if you wanted to say take Rivaldo off, put Coy Moore as your other slot.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got a running back / wide receiver and that kind of, or a wide receiver with running back type skills on the field running down the middle of the seam. So I think you've got about 5 to 6 guys now you can really count on. I think you've got a legitimate rotation if you were to add those pieces. Whereas before I felt like we only had 2, 3 pieces they really liked. I think you add those pieces. Now we're talking 5, 6, maybe even 7 guys in that rotation that you can count on.
That's good stuff. Zach, let's keep this going. Good stuff, Logan. We appreciate you, big dog, and all that you do for the site, man.
Yeah, definitely.
4085. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
You're talking to the Wolf deep into Coleman County.
Oh, how about you?
He's had a good week.
How about you, fellas? Now, I've been on hold, so I hadn't heard what y'all been talking about.
Damn, you can't hear us when you're on hold?
I couldn't hear nothing.
Well, that's good. We was talking about you.
Good. There's a lot. Hey, everybody's been talking about me today. So I figure let me just say I'm a realistic kind of guy. There's no denying that Hugh Freeze has improved this roster. I'm very happy. He's exceeded what I thought he could do. I knew he could recruit, but he's exceeded what I thought he could do. But let me just tell everybody out there, being realistic, we had a long way to go. Our roster was bad. If we had 4 guys that went pro coming back, I'd feel a lot better. But they left. We didn't have a whole lot of good, substitutes for them. But he has done as much as he possibly can to improve this roster.
Completely agree, Wolf.
Wolf, we don't have Keith. I think we needed you tonight, man. We needed you. We needed you to bring us down because everybody's excited. Everybody's excited. Hey, you should be. Just
12-0, baby, 12-0.
Hang the banner. No, really.
They've been calling me a wet blanket all day, so who cares?
No, you're just a realist, man. Just a realist.
Let me just ask. If we land, now I don't know exactly what's all happened since I've been on hold, but if we land the 2 wide receivers, the offensive lineman from Tulsa, the edge, Jack from James Madison, and the middle linebacker from North Texas. And that's probably realistic. We got a realistic shot, right?
Yeah.
I don't love our position for the edge from James Madison, but everybody else, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So if we can land those, how much have we improved the roster, in your opinion? I think even with those guys, I think 8-4 is a good ceiling for us. Maybe more, but we just had so much to change.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to expect more than 8-4 when you've had as much transition as we've had. You've got to think these are guys that you potentially, if you add those players, you're going to be bringing in 40 new players to your roster. That's almost half. And these are guys that are coming into play in addition to. So when you have that much transition and you're also transitioning schemes, for me to go higher than 8-4, it would be really difficult to do. I just think there's a lot of variable there.
Yes, sir. And I looked into maybe going to a game on the road. And I looked at that California game, and there ain't no way. A redneck from Alabama going to Berkeley, ain't happening. I'd be in jail.
Man, they got wolves in California.
Some dude, gender confused dude with blue hair would be there with a saying, "Blue and orange makes my butt stink." And I'd be in a fight, and then I'd miss the game. So I'm going to pass on that one.
I think that's fair, Wolf.
That's funny. Gosh,
I think that's very fair.
Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate you, big dog, big Wolf.
Hey, look, I kind of agree with Wolf on some stuff there, man.
Yeah, the California part, me too.
Not that part. Well, I don't know. Maybe I might.
Off the air.
Yeah.
624. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
How about you, fellas? This
Yeah,
is Taylor from up in Nashville, otherwise known as University of Auburn on the corner.
Whoa.
Hey, all right.
What's happening, Taylor?
All righty, fellas. Hey, this is my first time calling. Usually I'm out with a group of people eating dinner on Sunday night, so I can't call in. But they're all at the Taylor Swift concert tonight, getting rained out. So this is my opportunity to call in. So wanted to hit y'all up, ask y'all a question or two. So transfer portal is closed, but we do still have grad transfers that can transfer out or transfer in. Obviously, we've already had TJ go out. Could there be any circumstances where we do have another grad transfer leave Auburn? Maybe due to some of the additions we've made, do you see the possibility of somebody else potentially grad transferring outside of Auburn? Other than that, let me just make one more comment and then I'll hang up and listen. But I'm up here in Nashville, so I will be here for the Vanderbilt game, cheering us on. And I know Wolf isn't going to go to the Cal game just due to all those circumstances he mentioned. But if he wants to come up in Nashville and grab a beer with me, he can come, and y'all can come too. So tent will be open and ready for you. But I'll hang up and listen. Y'all have a good one.
Hey, appreciate it, Taylor. Good stuff. Jhead or Cole, either one, man. I'm trying to think off the top of my head any grad transfers.
I don't have any names on the top of I'm trying to think too. I think what you're seeing right now with Auburn, maybe besides Jeffrey Emba, I think people, some people would want him back, I would say.
Yeah.
When the team chemistry is good at Auburn, and it seems to be, the morale seems to be much better, obviously, since Hugh Freeze has taken over. Auburn becomes more of a destination place than a place they would look elsewhere from. To me, that's what it seems like to me. And you're not losing any major players here, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I don't see anybody being all right. So Jaleel Irvin is the only name because of from an eligibility standpoint that kind of meets that criteria to me. And if you land a Jhead Muskrat, things get really tight on the interior there.
Yeah.
So that's the only guy. And I haven't heard anything to make me believe that he's going to be a grad transfer. But if you're looking at guys that kind of meet that criteria that could fall into, hey, my position has now gotten very tight. I'm not potentially going to see the field this year. I do graduate. What are my options? I think he could be a guy that could potentially look at that. But then again, Cole, as you mentioned, what's the chemistry like on the team right now? What are his goals? What's his NIL deal? What's his situation with completing his master's? All of the stuff that plays into that, because, there are kids that play football that love it, but they know they're not going to the NFL. And so they're trying to position themselves as best they can for what's going to come next. And he may be one of those young men. So who truly knows?
Yeah.
Hey, good stuff, Taylor. We appreciate it, man. We will certainly hit you up next time I'm on Broadway.
2978. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from? $2978.
2978.
Hey guys, this is Marcus from Slap Out, Alabama.
Okay, Marcus.
I've been to Slap Out. I know where that is.
From Prattville. I had a quick question, and I'll hang up and listen. Payton Thorne, besides the numbers and film we see, I thought about a comparison of Jarrett Stidham. How does he compare to what Jarrett Stidham brought to the table And I was just curious about that. And great show, guys. We appreciate everything you do, and I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Marcus. We appreciate you, big dog. Cole, Jay, I'm sure you both got a little opine on this one.
I like that. I like that comparison. I've thought about it myself. Of course, I always try to compare a guy to a former Auburn player just out of habit. I want to start there before I branch out. And if you're going to compare him to a, the last 20, 25 years Auburn quarterback, I think Stidham's the guy you would pick from Auburn quarterbacks. I think, I don't know, maybe Payton Thorne's just a little bit more of a game manager than Stidham, as opposed to major playmaker. And not that Stidham was a major playmaker, but he did things. Sometimes he made some wow throws, I thought, here and there, and that's why he got drafted. It makes sense. But I think that's a pretty good comparison because they both have a little bit of running ability and they can move the offense. They can, make checks, do things like that, and seem to have good idea of what's going on all the time.
Yeah, I think you tapped into it. I do believe that Jhead Stidham had more natural arm talent, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I think so too.
But from a leadership standpoint, this is a young man that's played a lot of football. Okay. And so, like you said, as far as making the right checks, getting us into the right plays, somebody's going to have complete command out there. Yeah. That's what you love about it. And you do like the fact that there's some mobility there. This is a guy that if he decides to pull it, he legitimately could get you 10, 12, 15, 20 yards. You know what I mean? He's got highlights where he's broken 25, 30-yard runs against Miami. So, I mean, he's done this against Power 5 competition. So he's a better athlete than he gets credit for. But I like his experience. I like his competitiveness, the leadership that you hear about the young man. I think that's where he lines up with Stidham to me, and then the athleticism with slightly lesser arm talent. So I can see that. Yeah. I comp him a little bit more to Bo Wallace. I said it's kind of how I've seen him from the very beginning, but a more accurate version of Bo, because Bo would have those games where it was good Bo, bad Bo. I think that this young man is more accurate, and he's not going to have the swings that Bo Wallace had, but from a skill set standpoint, I compare him very favorably.
Yeah.
Good. Marcus, we appreciate you, big dog. Keep us going there, Zach.
0525, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Well, how about you, fellas? This is Auburn Dad for Life from Greenville, Alabama.
Very cool.
Right. Well, how about you, Auburn Dad?
Yeah, I've been meaning to call, but life's been hectic around here. Cole, long time talking to you. Used to watch your show. Jhead, seen you on always on the 24/7. Jay Lee, love your stuff, dude. Especially the daggum South Park and you did today on Twitter. That was neat. But my question is, and it maybe the scholarship limit. We've lost about 11 with TJ leaving, and we've brought in about 3. So where are we at filling the spots of need, and are we going to have enough space? And that's about it. And I love y'all show, guys. I just don't normally get to call or watch.
Appreciate you, AD for life.
Yeah.
Jhead, you are our.
I think right now, contingent on how you look at Jake Levant and Sean, whether or not they're going to be on scholarship or not. I think we're sitting at around 80 scholarships right now, with potentially another 2 there. Now my guess is Sean's going to be on scholarship. Sean Jackson. Sorry for not using the last name, guys. But I think he's going to be on scholarship. Jake Levant gives you some flex there where maybe he could return on scholarship. Maybe they take him off. I truly don't know on that one. So you're probably looking at 5 to 6 more scholarships right now that you can utilize. And I think that's about the number of targets that we've got on the board if you count the junior college offensive tackle, Markel Bell.
You know what? We always look at this is if Auburn's recruiting him, they've got a spot for him.
Right.
Like, yeah. The room, as far as I'm concerned, is never a concern. If they're recruiting a guy, they're gonna find a way to get him in. There's a spot for him if they're on him. But hey, we appreciate you, man. That's good stuff. I'm always curious about the numbers myself. Maybe we'll see where things sit in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
All right, Zach, keep us going. Good stuff there, Auburn Dad.
5960. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, fellas?
No, let's get here when you can, big dog. Let's get here when you can.
just get in where I fit in, man. It's been a nice show. Huh?
Yeah,
it sure has.
Callers, I like that.
Me too.
How y'all doing, man?
How you doing?
hanging in there, man.
Man, I'm actually doing pretty good, man.
You sound a little bummed.
I came through Auburn a few hours ago. I went up to Forsyth County up there, Cumming, Georgia, and I came back and I stopped by Bucky's and got one of me little brisket sandwiches. They lead number. I told them guys to meet me out here and get them old brisket sandwich or something. But I'm pretty good, man.
How was the brisket sandwich?
Oh man, the first one, I bit in it when I left out of Bucky's parking lot. And by the time I got on the ramp to get back on 85, that one was gone.
Did you get you some cherry sours?
No, man, I got me some pink lemonade, strawberry lemonade, and shit. I thought I looked at everything out of there.
Okay. The taste of the town with Edward from Selma.
I had Bucky's for lunch today too. Edward.
Cole, after you said you were in Bucky's fan.
Well, everybody gave me suggestions.
Hugh, man. Hugh told you. He said, man, can I win some game with the guy we got? Yeah. But that's not his plan. You got a guy that sat back for a few years and looked at this SEC. He watched Alabama dominating, and he's saying to himself, damn, I can beat that team. He's coming in with a different mindset than what people realize. He ain't coming to win 5 or 6 games. Everybody that's saying the flow 7 games, no. There ain't no 7 game flow, man. He could have did that with what he had. You got a revamped offensive line. You got to upgrade at the quarterback position. This team that won 5 games here without a passing game, without an offensive line last year.
Somebody get the wolf on the phone.
This team right here gonna surprise a lot of people. You got a weaker non-conference schedule.
Yes.
Cal a decent team, but they not a Penn State, so
no.
I don't know, man. I just like what the guy doing. I just like what the guy doing. I think the receivers we can get. I'm kind of skeptical about the guys that no knock on them, but can you stay healthy? Can you stay healthy? That's the thing with Ford Burden and the other guy. Can they stay healthy? Can you stay healthy? Regardless of how highly you were rated and what talent you can't stay healthy. Kind of Eli Stoll situation. Man, Eli Stoll would have been one of the greats at Auburn. But injuries just derailed that young man's career. And I love myself from Eli Stoll. It's a shame that people never really got to see his full potential, man. Because I think he was a special player.
I agree.
And in the words of Trooper Taylor, you can't make the club if you always in the tub, brother.
That's right. What y'all think about J.C. Hart coming in, man? Maybe can make an impact.
I think JC's raw. And honestly, I'm not going to be shocked if he's playing safety this time next year, Edward. I think that's his natural spot, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I can see that too. He talked like he wanted to give him a shot on offense just to see what he, looked like. Cause he was like, he really want to see him on offense because he's dynamic playmaker. I was wondering about that. I mean, you got a 6'3", boy, over 200 pound, run a 4.3 40, man. That's a little different from anything we currently got on the roster. So I was just wondering, wide receiver, a lot to learn, but maybe he can come in right now, just be a one-trick pony, run a deep post or go route. Just get deep, get behind your man. That's all I need you to do.
I would have said so before, we saw these receiver transfers coming in and possibilities there. But I'm with Jhead. I think he could end up back on defense before this year's over. I think that's where he fits.
Think so?
Yeah.
Hey, I do. Now, listen, Edward, I'm with you. He is a big-time athlete and a guy. It's hard to teach 4.3, right? Like, that's just not something you can teach.
Yep.
But to me, there's so many different nuances to playing wide receiver, and he is so much more advanced on the defensive side of the ball, and I love his tape coming down from safety. I truly think he can be a physical presence in the box as that range on the top.
I take a 4-3 safety all day long. I will.
Sure.
You and me
With all
both.
of it.
You and me both.
Man, but I was just calling and hey, y'all heard the shout out I gave y'all guys on Fireball, man. I told you, man. I'm with y'all
I
guys.
saw that.
Yeah,
Edward, I
that's
saw
awesome,
that
man.
after you called your shot. I saw that, brother. That was good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, y'all take it easy, man. I'm gonna hang up and listen to the rest of the callers, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. You're muted, Jeffrey.
Appreciate it, Cole. Appreciate you, Edward.
8466. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Eric Moss from Sheffield. How about you guys?
How about you, Eric?
Eric Moss.
Hey, man. Yes, sir. E. Moss. Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Cole, first of all, man. Every morning I watch old Zach Blacksby and drink my coffee. And a couple of weeks ago, I was watching the show and Cole pops up on there, and I said, hell yeah, it's going to be a good day. You know, there's no doubt. I go down in the comments. I go down in the comment section to put the little muscle symbol emoji and say Cole, you know, and I couldn't help but notice all the people just showing him love. That's my guy. I love Cole, you know. So
you're making him blush.
Wednesday.
No.
Go ahead.
Appreciate that.
Well, Wednesday, man, I'm in North Alabama, so I got that Pro Bama radio station. I got the worst sports radio show in the world on ESPN every day at lunch, and it's the Boomo Bug show. So I turn it on, or I get my car, it turns on like it does every day when I'm going to lunch, and I hear the voice of an angel. I hear Cole on there instead of these idiots. So, and, man, it just made my day, man. I was like, listen, here's my boy. So, you know, I turned it up and listened to him. And I want to tell y'all, Thursday when I got off work, my old lady let me have a little bit of my money. She told me to spend it wisely. And
that's good.
We recently had a Mama Goldberg's put up here like a couple of years ago, and so I'm in the spirit. You know, I'm pumped. I go eat at Mama Goldberg's. I get on my phone, got me a membership to Auburn Live. Went to the nearest barbershop, and I told that barber, I said, give me the Jhead.
Give me the Jhead.
I like it. I like it, brother.
Good stuff, baby.
He gave me that Jhead fade, man. I walked out there feeling like $100. Let me tell you.
Is it right
I
here?
bet you look clean, Eric. I bet you look clean.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I want to tell Wolf, man, put your sunglasses on because I'm about to pump some sunshine. Everybody talks about them 2 games that Hugh Freeze beat Nick Saban, and I don't even look at it like that. I look at it like this. In 2014, Hugh Freeze beat a Kirby Smart defense with Bo Wallace. In 2015, he hung 40-something points up on him in Tuscaloosa. In 2016, and the only meeting they've ever had as a head coach, and correct me if I'm wrong, he gave Kirby Smart the worst loss of his career, 45-14.
That's correct.
Wow.
Next year, whenever they come into Jordan Hare, whatever quarterback they decide to start, that's going to be his first road game. Don't let it be a night game. War Damn Eagle.
I like you, Eric.
Good stuff,
now,
Eric Moss.
It's debatable because losing to Will Muschamp is always a horrible loss.
Yeah.
Kirby's got that one on there too.
Man, Eric, we're glad to have you, man. We're glad you are a family member of Auburn Live now.
Absolutely. Great call.
And I will say this. Hey, you can do it for $29 from now until September. It's a good special going on right now if y'all want to jump on that. Auburn Live on 3. All right, Zach, give us what we got. Final 2?
Yeah, final 2 callers. We'll go 3227. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening, fellas. This is Ryan from Auburn. Known across some of the best boards as AU Storm. Good to be on with you guys.
AU Storm, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? First, I'm calling in and enjoying listening to the shows. And listen, we got to call in. I'm a basketball guy, as maybe Jhead and Jay Lee know from over the years from the other side. But
I know this voice for sure.
Yeah. What do we got to do to stop the Bruce Pearl slander? When did everybody become a basketball expert?
The second we won more than 20 games twice.
I'm with you, Storm. Dude, I read that board sometime and I'm like, what am I? Where am I? Am I on Kentucky's website? Am I on Duke's website? I mean, Auburn's been relevant in basketball for about 5 years now.
Yes.
Since Sonny Smith. I'll give Cliff Ellis a couple of years there too. But I mean, annually relevant in basketball. And these cats, some of whom are like 20 years old, right?
Correct. They don't remember the hard times.
And Storm, I'm like you, dude. I'm like, it's amazing. It's awesome.
It blows my mind. I was a student between 2010 and 2014. So I saw probably 20 wins combined in all 4 of those years. So I just think it's so funny how, everyone just gets into recruiting. And listen, the landscape of college basketball has changed 100%. I mean, the days of recruiting to get your guys in that will be there for 3 to 4 years, maybe one guy will go pro over 1 or 2 years, is over. And so it's not just Auburn dealing with the transfer portal, guys leaving, trying to recruit your own team. It's everybody. And so the fact that we got what Bruce considers their number one portal target is amazing, because that guy last year was Jhead Broome. And guess what Jhead Broome did for us last year? So the fact that Denver Jones is now that number one guy coming in, and us trying to get that third guy, besides Chaney Johnson, is going to be someone else. And yeah, we may have lost out on Matt Cleveland and some of these other guys due to other schools having just a ridiculous amount of NIL money. But the slander of when we missed out on a guy or when a guy decommits or whatever is just preposterous to me. I mean, the fact that, football is getting some of those guys in, but they need some of those guys. They have to have those receivers. They have to have that quarterback. And so it just fires me up every time I see someone on the board saying, "Oh, you need to sit Bruce down and tell him how this is going." Bruce has 2 SEC championships and a Final Four, more than most college basketball coaches can say. It just makes me so mad when I talk about it. And I had to call in and just bring that up. And I know you guys feel the same way, as you said.
No, Storm, I love your passion. I feel the same way as you. And look, I will say this. We have a major hole at the 3 spot right now. Let's let Bruce Pearl cook. If he doesn't come up with a solution for that position, obviously, look, we can apply some measured criticism at that point. But as of today, there's still recruiting ongoing right now. Let's see how he feels that position. And I'm with you. I love the pickup of Denver Jones. We finally have a 3-point shooter that can really be a floor spacer for us in this offense. You bring back Jhead Broome. You've got Jalen coming back. You're bringing in a 5-star point guard. And obviously Trey Donaldson started to kind of make an ascension last year. So I think there are a lot of pieces. Getting that 3-man will tie everything together. And let's just see if we can land Lawrence. I like the position. Look, I know what Jamie Shaw has said. But to me, I still feel very comfortable where we are with Tyron Lawrence. And I'm not trying to disregard a national reporter who's probably got more reach than I do. But I'm just going to leave it at I've still got confidence. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I trust Hoke. I know Hoke's got his people. I know Hoke personally. I feel very comfortable about the 3, even if we do miss out on it. There's still so many people in the portal that I think that we can get, and we're also, this roster is 3 to 4 times better than last year's roster already. I mean, that's just plain and simple when you look at the numbers, the facts. Yes, the 3 is a huge position, and I think we'll fill it no matter what. And the fact that Bruce got that roster last year to a second round and could have potentially been Sweet 16 if they didn't have the worst free throw shooting performance in the history of mankind. That team could have been in the Sweet 16, be the number 1 seed, and who knows what. So this coaching staff and this team is still head and shoulders better of where we should ever be. And I think the slander on the board should stop. The slander on the corner should stop. We should be working in tandem with the 3-headed beast. I mean, Butch is out there coaching circles around LSU. Bruce is recruiting a great roster for next year. Hugh's out here doing his thing. I mean, we should all be excited for what's going on and not be complaining about when a guy that we already knew wasn't coming to Auburn going somewhere else anyway. So I appreciate let me rant for a minute. I just had to get that out there. I love the show. Love the content you guys are putting out on a daily basis. I check the corner every minute of every day now. You guys are doing incredible. Appreciate all you do. Love
you, Storm.
Appreciate you, Storm. Really appreciate that, man. Great call. All right, Zach, finish this off, big dog.
3122. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Gracie from Birmingham, Alabama. I just wanted to ask some questions about the wide receiver portal. And who do you think is going to be the next wide receiver commit? I'm looking at it's most likely going to be Craig, but I got a good feeling that we could have like a 2019 LSU offense if we get Craig, Burton, and Coleman. And I still haven't seen Hudson commit to SMU, and I would just want to know what y'all hearing about that. And the sort of guy from North Texas.
Hey, I'm with you, Gracie. I think she said her name was Gracie, right?
Yeah, she did. Gracie from Birmingham.
I think we all agree that Montana Lamonius Craig. Yeah, that would be my guess as to the next wide receiver commitment. I think it's only a matter of time for him. I do find it interesting that Hudson hasn't committed to SMU yet.
Yes.
Yeah. That is intriguing. I don't know how much it has to do with Auburn, but it's intriguing.
Right. You know, he did at one. I'm telling you, at one point he had set an official visit to Auburn. Auburn was expecting him the week before he was supposed to come in here. And even when I wrote that story, a national guy was like, "Hey, man, listen, he's going to SMU." Just, I was like, "Well, I'm not going to not report an official visit to Auburn because he's going to SMU."
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
And then after he canceled it, he was like, "Yeah, I told you he's going to SMU." Well, he still hasn't gone to SMU. Now, again, I'm with whoever just said that. I don't know if it has anything to do with Auburn. I really don't. Matter of fact, I've quit following him. I'll pick back up if he comes back in the picture.
Right. My pick is Lamonius Craig for next as well.
Yes.
And then after him, I would say Shorter. When I said that today on the board, I think that the vibe I got was that Shorter absolutely wants in, and I don't think he would even take his official visits to Mississippi State and Colorado if he doesn't have to.
Yes.
But like Jhead said, one of the reasons you bring him in on an official visit or a visit is because you want to, take a look at him. You want to dive a little bit deeper in any injury history they have and everything that comes with it, right? That's getting them on campus and getting a good look at them and talking to them and vetting them, right? It's just part of the vetting process, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's a reason Shorter hasn't committed yet, like he didn't leave committed. Maybe not. I still, right now, I would say he lands in the class.
Yeah, I'm with you, Cole. I think it's Montana Lamonius Craig is your next commitment. And if everything checks out, like we've said, because we just don't know, right? Like we're not, we're not on the actual coaching staff and we don't know who's a take and what all criteria, what boxes they need to check. But from everything that we're feeling as far as from the recruit side of things, the kid absolutely loves Auburn, loved Hugh Freeze, Marcus Davis, everything about it. I think that he could very quickly find himself in the class if all those boxes are checked and he meets the criteria set forth by the staff.
Yep.
Good stuff, Gracie. We appreciate your call. Absolutely. This wide receiver recruiting has been crazy. I mean, back up a couple. Just think of the 2024 wide receiver recruiting that we've already been all over. The Perry Thompson, and Ryan Williams to an extent, although he's 2025. Cam Coleman, my goodness. Nick Marsh coming down from it. We've had a lot of wide receiver talk.
I wondered with the pickup of Burton, a guy who has 4 years, is it possible they'd take one less in the 24 class for that reason?
Yes, I absolutely think there's the potential there, Cole, where maybe you don't take a slot in this class now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're just focusing on outside guys to a degree because you're still very slot heavy. You've got JJ, who's probably gone after this year. I think he's got a COVID year left that he could tap into if he really wanted to. You've got Coy Moore, Jay Fair, and now you just brought in Burton. And obviously we've talked about bigger targets like Montana Lamonius Craig playing in the slot in addition to that.
Right.
So do you bring in a dedicated slot guy? I just don't know. I know that they like a couple of those smaller targets. They like them a lot, but it's that roster management piece, right? You got to make sure that you've got a variance of different receivers in that room. And
here's a question for both of y'all, right? I'm going to pose you this question, Jhead.
Sure.
Does Lanning Burton help you with your top 2 receiver targets, Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman? Can you go all in on these guys now? Not that you weren't before, but even more so. Can you push it a little bit more with these two now that you've got a 4-year guy in the mix, a guy from Ohio State, tons of potential,
so that you're not afraid to miss, right? That essentially. That's hard to say because I think they still need 2 outside wide receivers in this class regardless. I think Burton's best featured in the slot, though he can play on the outside. He's got some versatility to his game where he's hell on wheels out in space, man. So depending on how you plan on using everybody else, I can absolutely see him playing on the outside.
Yeah.
I still think you need 2 bigger-bodied outside wide receivers in this class. Cam Coleman is absolutely one. Can you, out of the other 3, Nick Marsh, Mike Matthews, and Perry Thompson, can you get one of those other 3? If you can get one of those, man, this wide receiver room is really looking good rolling into 2024.
Yeah. You can understand the excitement, right?
Yes. And you know what? What I love about these transfer portal pickups is you're going to be able to do more in the offense now than you would have been able to do before. You can show these guys how they'll be featured in this offense. You're going to have more answers and have more versatility than what you were going to do, as well as a quarterback that's going to be more proficient at what it is that you're trying to accomplish those objectives on offense as well.
Lots going on, man. Lots to cover. You got to think, man, we still haven't heard from Muskrat. Uku's still out there.
Larry Nixon.
Larry Nixon is still on the board. I'm sure there'll be some more names popping up. Have we mentioned Keon Coleman?
We have not mentioned Keon Coleman tonight.
Keon Coleman. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. Does he visit? Right. You know what I mean? Does he pop on campus? Does he sneak on campus? Does he, you know what I mean? Do we find that out? Who knows? But I can tell you this. This coaching staff is 100% pushing for that. I firmly believe that. And then let's see what happens from there.
I know he was expected, at least by a couple of people, Friday. I wrote the story. He's expected to visit Sunday. He's expected to visit Auburn after Florida State. Keon Coleman, for anybody listening, I think he was the number 2 wide receiver for Michigan State. I think the other guy's in the NFL now, if I'm not mistaken.
Jayden Reed, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
So he was Payton Thorne's second best receiver, second best target at Michigan State. Both of them entered the portal. Obviously, Payton Thorne is committed to Auburn. Keon Coleman is in Tallahassee, Florida, or has been this weekend. I was told Friday that he is expected to visit Auburn afterwards. Then after this shorter stuff, I actually put a note on the board. I was like, I'd be surprised if he visits now. I didn't know how much interest there. I don't know how much interest there is in Auburn. I don't know how much the mutual. All I know is he was expected to, and it kind of died down through the weekend. And you're getting all these conflicting reports out of Florida State, who's presumably down there talking to him. So we'll it's something to track. Keon Coleman, we'll see what happens. I think it's worth mentioning, though.
Maybe one more person to mention is a guy you talked about, Jhead at Edge, Steven Sings, who was at Liberty.
Yes.
I don't know if that one's going to happen. I don't feel a whole lot of confidence that it would happen, even if you miss on Uku.
Right.
Which we feel like could happen. We feel like Uku could end up elsewhere, but that's not a done deal or anything. It just kind of feels like he might be trending elsewhere.
Right.
Or is Auburn willing to wait that long on him if he wants to take all these visits? You kind of have that dynamic playing there. But Steven Sings is interesting. I mean, he's worth tracking. There's no doubt. He's a guy from Liberty that you actually kind of got recruited by Auburn when he was in high school, just a touch.
Yep.
Ended up there at Liberty and had some success as an edge rusher. So, maybe keep a track on him.
Back to Keon Coleman. Did y'all see the press that he got from Florida State this weekend?
Yeah.
You talking about treated like royalty and a damn king? Dude,
Yes.
they had the media right there for when he got out the car and Norville was there. They had, I mean, I've never seen an official visit, especially a transfer, covered from the moment he got out of the car, and actually before. I mean, I'm coming to Florida State. I'm doing this. I'm getting there this one. Here's the pictures of me, of him getting there, walking into the building, almost hour by hour updates on his visit. This is a transfer.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of. And at least in these parts, man, it's tough to get transfer intel. I don't know why. I have no idea. I understand it when the transfer portal window was open and you may not have wanted to another guy to leave. But Hugh Freeze has said from the beginning, I want an interior offensive lineman. He said this. He told me and Keith this in February.
Right.
I want an interior offensive lineman. I want a wide receiver. I want a linebacker. I want a jack.
Yeah.
Probably will look for a quarterback. So I don't understand it when things get tight. I don't know. I don't know I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
No, I hear you on that.
It's just
No,
because we're talking about Keon Coleman, and if he does visit, will we know? And if not, why not? Look at what Florida State just did. He's all over Twitter. He's been trending on Twitter for the past 48 hours.
I think it's just probably differing perspectives. Certain coaches are more comfortable with certain things, and Norvell is somebody who has, from out my time, kind of watching that program at a distance since his arrival there, he has absolutely given access to the media with regard to transfer portal recruiting. It made a point to make sure that they were included in I think, hyping the arrival and the coverage that they received to a degree. He's just very comfortable with them as a conduit to do that. I think there are certain coaches, and I think this is absolutely true, that prospects will utilize that amount of coverage to raise NIL dollar amount.
Absolutely.
So they 100% are using that as a bargaining chip when all the known players are out there. And these kids are smart, man. They're getting paid. And you can call it NIL if you want. It's pay for play. And these kids are 100% trying to drive the market and trying to drive the price. And I do think that there are certain coaches that want to eliminate. I don't know what Hugh Freeze wants and doesn't want. I'm not speaking for him. I have no contact with that staff. And as far as that is concerned, what I can tell you is that's just a general feeling in the coaching community of try to keep it as quiet as you can to keep people from basically leveraging NIL play with regard to your recruitment with a certain kid.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. All right. Do we got any lightning round questions, Zach? Change the subject real quick. Oh, James Barnett. Fellas, if this passing game is successful, and I definitely think it will be, do you think we definitely land no less than a top 10 class?
Okay. Well, this plays into my theory, Jeffrey, that we've talked about several times, where you say you got to win the living room first. I say you got to win on the field first to get it. And it's kind of the chicken or the egg theory there. But I think it's both. But I lean more towards the field because I thought, what A-Day could have been, it really annoys me that the weather was the way it was.
I hear you.
It annoys me. It actually irritates me. But
Needed that.
I've talked to Perry Thompson about this, who is an Alabama commit who was at A-Day, right? And is a huge Auburn target.
Yes.
He's like, man, I really wanted to see, I wanted to see them pass it. And he understood why they didn't. And they did throw it 12 times, which is pushing it in weather like that. But, that bothers me. So, yes, to answer your question, James, I do think that having a more successful passing game is synonymous with a higher rated class.
I think if you're going to have a top 10 class, a lot of that top heavy ranking is going to come from wide receivers.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I agree there. Dylan wants to know any update on Reddick. It's been quiet lately on him, and it has because, Cole, we've been focusing on the transfer portal. Be honest with you, folks. High school is kind of in this eval period right now. Nobody's visiting. I mean, we're having some visits set up, but coaches are going to see these kids. There's really not a lot going on with high school recruiting, but it'll certainly pick back up at the end of this month, and especially in June when some of these visits kick back up. Drew wants to know: would we still try to acquire a Casey Thompson? No.
Yeah,
We settled as far as quarterback. Yeah, Auburn's done at quarterback. Joey wants to know how much of an impact does Thorne having 2 years left play on the recruitment of Thompson and Coleman, Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman? I think that was what somebody was it Gracie or who was it? Eric? I can't remember. Somebody was trying to, or maybe that was Cole. I don't think it has an impact on them. I think Walker White has more of an impact on those guys.
I agree with that.
I think it has an impact for this. And going back to the previous question, Jay Lee, I am 100% with you. You got to win the living room first. Okay. I watched Nick Saban come in here with an atrocious Alabama team, go 6-6, and lock up one of the best recruiting classes I've ever seen in my life. But I think he's important because he allows you to show these kids his ability in the passing game as a confident quarterback allows you to show them how they will be used and that you can be successful in this offense here. I think that absolutely will be important because if you were to trot Robbie out there and he's very much like he was last year, which is inaccurate at times, and just a couple of other, nuanced things that I don't love about his game from that standpoint. It doesn't mean they're not correctable, but you're not able to feature wide receiver play the same way you would be bringing this young man in. And I think that in and of itself will be very big in those recruitments because you can say, hey, guys, he just put up 3,000 yards this year. This is the guy that's going to be getting you the ball next year. I'm also bringing in Walker White, who's going to be able to pick up right where he left off. So I think they kind of work in tandem with each other to a degree.
Here's another one. Jhead Little Bird wants to know. I found an article on Jair Shorter, about he had season-ending injuries in both 2020 and 2021. I believe one was a knee, and then there was a foot. An ankle. He broke his ankle, and then the next year he broke his foot. I think he played 3 or 4 games total in the 2021-2020 seasons. Is this a big concern? It's a fair question.
I think so. I think you want to make sure that you're giving a very thorough physical to anyone that you're bringing in, specifically a one-year guy, okay? Because if they can't play, you're shot. Like the whole point of bringing them in there is to be able to be productive in this one season. And if they're unable to do so, then you've just basically wasted a scholarship that you could have applied elsewhere. And we obviously know that there are other targets, other wide receivers that you can pick up in this class, guys that haven't even visited yet. Now, I think we haven't talked about him yet, but the Franklin kid from UTSA, I know he's a massive target. Could you get him on campus? So I don't think you want to take a kid if he's beat up, but if he checks out and you see the production that he's had on tape, it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense to me to go ahead and get that kid locked up and get locked up quick.
And for the record, Auburn knew about these injuries before they brought him in.
Sure.
That was not something that they found out when he was on campus. That was something they knew beforehand.
Right.
Of course, they looked through his stats and they looked through his film and all that. So they knew about this, but I'm sure they dug into that a little bit more with him. Tell us more about this injury. How are you doing? that kind of thing. So
right. Is
what they learned.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if this is permitted, but it's like, hey, wave your foot over here in front of this X-ray machine. Let me see your shoe. Hold it right here in front of the screen. Now be quiet. Breathe in. Hold it. All right.
Yep. Marcus Davis over there just
yeah. Hot dog water. So good hot dog water. How many years of this level of success do we need to stop the anti-Auburn national sentiment?
Whew.
I would say
you need
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to try to explain it. We all just kind of know what he's talking about.
Yep.
Right. This level of success so far, the only success has been off the field. Because as we've been talking, you've got to have that off the field success. You want to have the on the field success. Without the off the field success so far since December, man, I'm telling you, just the hope and excitement of this season just amped up. Right. I mean, Auburn fans, it's a success right now. Auburn is having success right now. I would say next year at this time, if Auburn's won 8 games and had a top 10 recruiting class, I think the sentiment will begin to change.
Yeah. Can you have like a Pat Dye type situation where you're stacking every year into an SEC championship type situation? If you do that, if you're a 3-year build out to an SEC championship, that will all slowly start to dissipate, and Auburn will start to get the benefit of the doubt from the national perspective.
James is back. He wants to know, if we get all this talent, where would our roster rank in the SEC? If we get all this talent, transfers, James, I still say bottom half.
Middle of the pack.
Yeah, I think it's around middle, maybe upper middle.
Yeah,
maybe. You're pushing to that.
Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M.
And then beyond that, I think you're kind of with Ole Miss, Kentucky, Tennessee. I think there's a group of schools like that right there. And that's kind of that soft middle. You know, there's, like you said, there's 4 teams really that jump out at Florida's in that group that jump out at you of Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and A&M. And look, say what you want about Jimbo Fisher. That roster is loaded to the gills with talent, okay?
Yeah, it is.
Mismanaged talent, but talent all the same, okay? And then, like I said, then you got that group of teams, you know, the Floridas, the Ole Misses, the Kentuckys, the Tennessees, Auburn, all right there. Now, where do we fall in that? I don't know, and we'll kind of see as the season goes on. But now what I feel like is if you add these 2 wide receivers that we've talked about, you got a team I feel good about saying you got 7. And you got 7 victories. Can you find a way to get 8? And I think that I'm leaning more towards yes than no at this point.
Hot dog water. I got you, big dog. Thank you for asking.
I'm so happy that he asked this question.
Great day in the morning.
Please go for it.
Let me explain something to you, man. The left lane is the passing lane. The right lane is the driving lane. You only use the right lane. You never get in the left lane unless you need to pass somebody.
Yes.
Okay. And if you get in the left lane to pass somebody, once you have passed somebody and overtaken them, you get back in the right lane. Okay. And now if you want to turn left, if you're going to turn left at some point, like if you're on Sugar Jordan or something, you're going to want to turn left. Okay. You've got a half a mile. You don't have to ride in the left lane through 3 miles to turn left up here at the Kroger. Okay. Riding your left lane. I mean, the right lane is the driving lane. Does everybody understand that? The driving lane. Everybody's in the right lane. The only people getting over in the left lane are the people that's going to pass the people who are in the driving lane. And once they overtake them, they're getting back in the driving lane so they can continue driving.
And
also, if you're turning left at an intersection and there's a red light and the green light and you're in a turning lane and the lights are green, but the left lane is not, the left turn lane is not, so you're yielding to oncoming traffic, you advance into the intersection and you wait until it's clear, and then you don't sit back here at the stripe, okay, and then let the light turn yellow and then red, and you sit there another. You pull out you advance into the intersection, you possess the intersection, and then when it turns yellow, the other cars will stop, and then you turn. Good stuff, Hot Water. Appreciate you.
And Hot Dog Water. I don't care if you're going 85 in the left lane. If somebody's behind you, you are wrong. You can be going 90.
That's right.
Somebody's behind you, you're wrong. Bottom line. Thank you.
You know what?
And listen, if I pass you on the right, you're an idiot. That's all I got to say.
Jeffrey
Brooks
Lee for driver's ed. I'm telling you, Auburn High School. You do it if you don't hire this man right now. You've made a mistake.
Oh, I'm so glad he asked that question.
Good stuff, Hot Dog Water. I appreciate that opportunity. Oh, man. I'm guessing that's it. We had you know what? I was expecting a fantastic show. This was absolutely maybe one of my favorite shows. I don't know if it'll show up in the views or the most viewed or anything like that. But as far as favorite goes, and it's not because of Hot Dog Water. It plays a factor, don't get me wrong. But it was one of my favorite shows. We had fantastic calls. Bryce from Beulah got us kicked off. Kevin from Wilmer. Kevin always got good questions, man. Logan Adams, fantastic stuff. Appreciate him. Loyal subscriber. The Wolf calming things down from Coleman. Taylor from Nashville called in. He's a Swiftie. For all that those know, that's a Taylor Swift fan. Swiftie. Do you know they call that? Do you know they call them that?
No, I didn't. Hey,
I've been seeing these videos for concerts, like in dude. You talk, Brooks, get out of here for a second. Dude, you talking about the chicks at these places? Oh my God, it's nothing. It's like 95% hot chicks. Like, and they're all. It's all like they all got together and went girls' night out. We're going to Swifty, and then there's like this dude over here. I'm thinking that dude's batting 1,000 right now. You know what I mean? All right, he's listening. Oh, he's listening on his phone. This thing is rated PG-13.
I believe Brooks is in. I believe Brooks is in the comments here.
I was going to say he's walking around with his phone. Okay, let's see here.
Brooks, he gets mad driving.
Hey, you know what, Brooks?
I love it, Brooks.
I have ridden with Mr. Jeffrey Lee. You are right.
Jessica said I use my horn more. I usually blow my horn at least once every trip I take.
I like it.
And
you are the
quintessential
East Coast driver. Like, I could put you in Washington, D.C. and you'd be perfect. 100%.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so Swifty, Taylor from Nashville, we appreciate him. Marcus from Slap Out has some good stuff. Auburn Dad for life, we appreciate you, big dog. Of course, Edward from Selma calling in to preach his wisdom. He's always got good stuff. Eric Moss from Sheffield has some really good stuff. Brian, AU Storm, good stuff there on the basketball program. Gracie from Birmingham calling in to close it out, man. Fantastic show tonight. We appreciate everybody. Before we go, remember to give Caleb Schofield a call, man. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a car, used or new, Caleb can get it done. If he doesn't have it, what you want, he will find it. He will get it. He will have it delivered to you if that's what you want. Give him a call, man, 334-531-0996. It's going to do it tonight, folks. Join us, Thursday afternoon, evening. We'll have it. Don't go slow. Yeah, that's right, Brooks. Tell him, big dog. Join us Thursday. I'm starting them young. Thursday, we'll have the recruiting show. Maybe we'll have another commitment or two to talk about. We'll certainly be tracking everything at Auburn Live on 3. If you're not a member of that site, right now is a perfect opportunity. I think it's about $6 or $7 a month until September. Get in while you can. Auburn Live on 3. Thanks again, everybody. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Jhead, for Cole, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Stay out of the left lane.